Hey, how's everyone doing? Thanks for hanging out. Are we live? Let's make this interactive. Go ahead and leave some thumbs ups. Thumbs ups? Thumbs ups, yes. Into the chat and let us know that you can see and hear us. And also where you're calling in from. All right, nice. Got a thumbs up. All right. Well, you work with us, so that I don't know if that counts, but if anybody else, go ahead. You also work with us, Tanya, so but thanks for hanging out. Got anybody else in there? Any non-Vonage folks, go ahead and just put a thumbs up. Nice. Thank you. Oh, well, no, Kapil, you also work with us. We have a lot of Vonage folks. That's great. We're supporting our own. That's good to see. But so while we're getting the thumbs up, welcome. We're going to get started. And if you could, I posted a message, but if you haven't signed up for a Vonage account, or if you need to log in, there should be a button right below this video that says create your account /login. So if you go ahead and do that for me as well, because we have some time for you to sign up. So you'll be able to do that. So, all right. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Cool. All right, let me share my screen so we can officially get started. All righty. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming through to this knowledge quest powered by Vonage. Appreciate y'all. So for this knowledge quest, we're going to go through a Vonage video React app. And so my name is Dwane. I'm a JavaScript developer advocate at Vonage. I'm joined with Yuji, customer solutions engineer. All right, so now what exactly are we going to be doing? So we're going to be going through a feature-rich video referenced video conferencing app using our Vonage video APIs in React. If you're not familiar, React is like a UI framework that allow developers to be able to easily create the front end for their applications. So this is kind of like how Vonage would create a video conferencing app in React. So that's why it's like a reference app. So for one-to-one and multi-party video calling, it also has recording, screen sharing, reactions, and more. You can kind of see what we'll be taking a look at below. Hey, Lawrence, what's going on? Thanks for coming by. All right, so now, also, like I mentioned, this is how Vonage would build a video conferencing app. So it has like our best practices all built in. So you can kind of see when you're building your app, how we would build our app. All right. So now going into some more features, there's like a pre-meeting experience. So before you join, you'll be able to select, your username, and you will also like select your cameras and microphones. The in-meeting experience with like the chat and everything, you'll be able to see everybody, like we mentioned with the reactions. Like I mentioned, you can screen share. There's the recording. There's the performance manager. So things, if there's too many people, some people will be put into like a little not shown, like, so it's not an overflow, like overflow room. We also have the one-to-one multi-part, like I mentioned before. And the great thing is all open source and modular. So again, you'll be able to use it as a reference for your own application. All right, so now the overall architecture. Of course, on the front end, we have React. Then behind the scenes, to be able to get things like tokens and generate rooms, we're using Node. And on top of that, an Express server, along with the different Vonage video SDKs. And then we deploy all that. What's great is that you can use your own infrastructure. So if you have like, Google Cloud or AWS or like Microsoft Azure, you'll be able to use that as well. But for this experience, this knowledge quest, we're going to be using the Vonage Cloud Runtime, which is a infrastructure from Vonage that allows you to be able to spin up different applications using Vonage APIs quickly. And so this way you'll be able to kind of like be able to test applications, kind of see how they work before deploying it to your own infrastructure. And we also have this thing called Code Hub, which is a list of pre-made applications like the Vonage Video React reference app. So you'll be able to play with stuff. So if you're into like PHP, Ruby, we have all these different other applications. Java, shouts to Lawrence. Java. So we have all sorts of different things that you can then play around with within the Vonage infrastructure and don't have to worry about setting up keys and all these other stuff. It's all there for you. All right. Now, the front end of this, you see there's a display layer. So we're going to use the MUI, Material UI. They have React components that are built on top of the material design standard. And so we'll take a look at that. There's also custom React components that will interact with the Vonage Video SDK. On top of that, as far as React, we're going to be using React hooks, React Context API, and there's also some custom modules that adds additional features like Active Speaker and Layout Manager. And then towards the back end, we have the API. Again, that's going to be working with the Vonage Video SDK. All right, so now you can kind of see how it all looks, the application we'll be creating. And like I mentioned, we're going to be using the Material UI because they have a set of React components. So it allows for rapid prototyping and it's customizable as well. It's widely used by React developers. And if you ever used MUI, please let us know in the chat if you get a thumbs up if you've used it. Or what have you used in your React applications? Let us know. And you can kind of see, so all the buttons here, the icons, all that is the Material UI. All right, here's a bunch of the other stuff that's used within the Vonage Video React reference application. It's the tech stack. Some things to kind of point out using TypeScript. And as they say here, is a game changer. Types make refactoring a breeze and picks up 100s of bugs without even running the code. So for people that may know, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript that allow types. So you can say, hey, this variable is of this type. So if someone tries to assign, let's say you say this thing is a string. And if someone tries to assign a Boolean to it, TypeScript is like, whoa, 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 don't do that because this is supposed to be a string and only a string. So it helps catch a lot of bugs, which is great, especially if you're working on a team. And then, of course, we're using React, mentioned the MUI, and V, kind of like helps build like a dev server to make everything kind of like work pretty quickly. And you'll be able to iterate faster. All right. Now, let's talk about the React and the Vonage Video SDK and how we put them all together. So a couple of key terms that we may hear through this workshop. Client. That's any browser or mobile app that is using the Vonage Video API Client SDKs. So basically the thing you're using to make the video call. So again, so it could be a browser, mobile app, or whatever else is coming into the future with all these like AI glasses and things, who knows? But it's anything that is connecting to the actual session. And a session is a room where the different clients can interact with each other in real time. Now, a token is your key into that room or session that you can then interact with each other. And now publisher is the device that is publishing to the room or session the video and the audio. Or it can be data. It could be all sorts of things. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But it's the thing that's actually making the stuff that's going into the room or the session. Now, subscriber, that's the thing that's subscribing to those video, audio, data streams that are going into the session. So they're ingesting that stuff there. So they're subscribing to it. And archiving is the recording and the saving of a session. And then the client SDK, again, is the stuff that the clients use to be able to get connected to the session. And it handles like all the real-time data stuff. And then the server SDK is where we do things on the back end, like that you'd only want to do on the back end, like creating a new session and generating tokens, again, the keys to join the session. All right, now, as far as React, we're going to be using the Context API. And so that kind of is like a global store. And the Context API was created because previously, in order to get the data in a nested situation of components, you'd have to do a thing called prop drilling. So this component would have to get the data, then that would pass it to this component, then pass it to this component. Whereas with the Context API, everything is like available to all the different components. So it allows us to use the video SDK objects and methods from our React component, regardless of where it is in that tree of components. And it also avoids having to do that prop drilling that I mentioned before. And it can be used, again, as application state management. So any changes, regardless of wherever it's happening in the components, is set to that global one. So that all the other ones who are subscribed to it can then change how they need to. And so, for example, it's used by us to make things like the session and the publisher across the multiple components that need them. So like the video tile, so the video that shows your video, the toolbar that allows you to toggle the video and audio, and like the participant list, seeing everyone else in the video call. All right, so now there's a couple of ways of handling, at least as of this recording, there's a couple of ways of handling data within React. We've got state and refs. And so depending on your use case determines on which one you use. So it allows us to store the video SDK objects and update the UI. But like it says, it's not obvious which one to use. So the way we're using is state is not updated immediately, right? Because it's asynchronous, and React kind of handles when to update that stuff. And it'll cause a re-render of the UI, which is in some cases not what you want. And now for the refs, the values, they're updated immediately because it's synchronous, but the update does not cause a re-render of the UI. So refs, the objects we initialize ourselves and must be not done twice. So we only want these things to run once. And so like for the session, because you don't want to join more than one session at a time. And then the publisher, you don't want your video feed having multiple tiles and things of that nature. So those things are the type of things we only want to have it run once. And then, but things like state, those are things that are created from events that happen within the video call. And so things like video elements. So if somebody joins the call, there's going to be a video elements, and then you can add that to that. So that's going to re-render the UI to be able to show that person. And like I said, subscribers. So, all right, there's that. Now, let's talk about creating a publisher, right? So let's use that as an example. For use ref, we're going to store the publisher, right? So you can see here, we're getting a reference to it, and we're setting it as publisher ref. But then we're going to use use effect to be able to initialize that publisher. So once the stream is happening, be able to initialize the publisher. And then we're going to use state to be able to store the video element that Vonage sends back that says, hey, here's your video. And then you can trigger an update to update the UI to show that video. All right, and this is like a code snippet. We'll see more of that later while we're actually working on stuff. And then with that, now that we have the publisher, well, we kind of need to put it in the context so that the other components can know about it. And so that's what we're doing here with the publisher provider here. And then again, to make the publisher available to components. And then to display that publisher element, we're going to use that context where we put that publisher object. So then we can then use it in the actual component to show things. And so we're going to get the video element from the use context. And then we're going to get a reference to the actual div element where that publisher will show up. And then the use effect to append that div, the video element to the div here. All right, so how we're doing? Let me get a thumbs up to let me know if everybody's doing all right. Oh, also, if you have any specific questions, there's a Q&A box over on the right of the chat. It has a little question mark with like a little speech bubble. Feel free to ask your questions there, and we can always answer it there. All right, so now, in summary, our SDK can be used with React, but it does require some knowledge on both the React and the Vonage Video SDK side to be able to do it correctly. And that's why we have this Vonage Video React reference app to be able to guide you in that process. All right, so that's enough talking from me. Let's get into a demo. So let's get this Vera deployed, shall we? All right, on to you, Yuji.
Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Yuji, a customer solution engineer here at Vonage. Today, I'll walk you through how simple it is to deploy our reference app in Vonage Cloud Runtime. And before we get started, to make sure we are on the same page throughout this session, feel free to ask for assistance in the chat if you run into any problems. Also, a quick thumbs up or a message letting me know you are following along will be very helpful. Okay, first, let's begin by navigating to the VCR Code Hub page. Let me share my screen.
And I'll post a link to this in the chat so you can go ahead and join right there as well.
Yep.
And then let us know if the screen, if the text and everything is fine. If you need it bigger, let us know. Or if everything is fine, let us know as well.
Alright, so once you're on the Code Hub page, you'll need to sign in with your Vonage account if you haven't already. So now I'll pause for a few moments to allow everyone time to sign in.
Keep those thumbs ups going.
Yeah. Can I get a quick thumbs up in the chat when you are signed in? Okay, I believe no issue so far since I don't see any complaints. I'll go ahead. So, okay, in the Code Hub page, you will now find a variety of projects ready to go. We are going to focus on the Vonage Video API Reference App for React. If you don't see it right away, you can just type Vonage Video API Reference App, press Enter, and there it is. Click on that project. So in a project, you'll notice two tabs, Overview and Get Code. The overview gives you a quick rundown of the project, its features, and the supported browsers. To access the codebase, go to the Get Code tab, click the Create a New Development Environment. You'll get a pop-up asking you to choose a region. It's usually to pick a region closer to your users for better performance. Now let's name our workspace Video Reference App Demo. Then hit Continue to create the workspace. And this might take a minute or two to load. If you would like to learn more about the Vonage Cloud Runtime, you can find the documentation on the Vonage Developer Center. So I will share the link in the chat for your reference. Oh, we got a thumbs up from Jay Press. Thank you.
Hey, Jay.
Okay, we have our project loaded. Right. So as you can see, the interface basically looks like Visual Studio Code. So if you are used to VS Code, you'll just feel comfortable right away. Now let's get our debug instance running. To start, open a new terminal window. Go to Terminal, New Terminal. I'll get this bigger. And then we need to install the project's packages. So type in yarn install -ignore -scripts and hit enter. I'll drop the command in the chat window shortly.
Hey there, Shubham.
Okay. Okay, just paste in the command. You can copy from there. So while that's running, let me give you a quick tour of the project structure. So we have a backend and front-end services. So in the front end, source, context, session provider. So this is where we are using the Vonage Video Client SDK to manage all our session stuff, such as joining a session using a client token and executes appropriate actions in response to session events. For example, we subscribe to the stream when we receive the stream created event, and we reformat and display the chat message when the signal chat event happens. Now for the publisher, as mentioned in the slides before, both the session and publisher are managed using React Context API. So similarly, you can find a publisher provider in the context folder. And remember that the publisher is the one sending their video and audio into the meeting. So the publisher provider is responsible for everything related to the published stream, like toggling the video and audio and keeping track of its state. Another thing that is worth noting is the OpenTalk Layout.js library. It's under Hooks, Use Layout Manager, the OpenTalk layout.js library. So it's what we use to handle the layout of the video tiles. The library's get layout method lets us set video option like making videos bigger or keeping them at a fixed ratio. Then the method returns the dimensions and positions of each video, or we call it boxes. And we use it to display them. Okay. Oops. Our build is done. So how about you guys?
How's the font? How's the text and everything? Let us know as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move to the next step. And now we want to build the project, and to build it, we can just simply run yarn build in the terminal. All right, I'll just copy and paste this in the chat as well.
Thanks for the update, Jay Prasad. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be working for
everyone. It's pretty fast. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing what we can do through the browser, right? It's kind of all in the browser.
Right. And I think while we wait for the build, and let me quickly highlight the key files in the backend folder. The backend primarily serves the APIs for session creation, token generation, and archiving. And you can find the details in the video service folder, the backend, video service folder, Vonage video service class. So we are using the Vonage video server SDK for all of that. And you can see how we use the SDK to create a session, generate client token, and those archiving. And besides that, at the backend, we also need a storage mechanism for the sessions, which is in the storage VCR storage session. So this is to ensure that when someone joins a room with the same name, they are directed to the correct session ID. And since we are using the VCR, we are storing the session in the VCR instance state, and we store it as a key value pair. Okay, I think that's all the key files I want to share. Let's see my build progress.
If anybody's ever done anything with modern JavaScript projects, you know a lot happens with the build, and sometimes that can take a while.
Yeah. So basically, this command will build the front end and copies the build folder to the backend. And you can see the exact command in the front end folder, the package.json file. Let me show you. In the package.json. So as what mentioned in the slides before, we are using the vid bundle. So we're using the vid to build that, and then we make a directory in the backend folder. And lastly, we copy over the build directory to the backend folder. That's it. Okay, I have the build folder ready. I believe everyone is good.
How's everyone doing?
Can I give a thumbs up? Okay, I assume everything is good.
Yeah, sometimes there's a delay between the live video and the actual what people see. So, but Jaya Prasad said done here. Very nice.
Yeah, very nice. Thanks. So one last step. Let me clear the terminal first. So now we have our build folder. Let's deploy it to a debug instance. Run vcr debug in the terminal. And we need to press Y because we are going to use the same application ID as production. And press enter again. Let me quickly copy this and paste it in the chat. Okay, once it's deployed, you'll get a URL. Copy paste this URL in the new browser tab. Then you can see the app is running. So I'm going to stop sharing this and reshare with the browser tab.
And just to summarize, we now have a live preview of the application running on the internet for anybody to be able to check out. Kind of amazing. Again, all through the browser.
Yeah, again, let me copy this URL. And I'm going to open a new tab, paste here. Right, this is the app we just deployed. So have you guys deployed your app successfully? Nope.
Well, it takes a second, I
then-
guess. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think since no one's complained, I assume that everything runs fine.
Oh, build is in progress for Shubham. All right. Thanks for letting us know.
Thanks. I probably will give a few seconds to get the build done.
So also, I want to give a big thanks for Yuji for even being here, because right now, what time is it there, Yuji?
It's 12:30 a.m.
Yes. So thank you very much for coming along on this knowledge quest with us.
You're welcome.
All right, deployed and debugged. Very nice. Thank you, Shubham.
Very nice. Thank you. So I'll continue to my app, and I'm going to introduce the app UI interface. Right. So on the landing page, you can create a room with a random name, or you can enter your own. We've got the local time and date at the top right, and a GitHub link. Oh, let me hide this. And this will direct you to the repo. So now I'll create a random room. You'll be prompted to allow microphone and camera access in your browser. Just click allow so you can publish your video and audio. Cool. Then you'll be taken to the waiting room where you can set your media inputs and outputs. You can even test your speaker, toggle the audio and video. So if you turn off the video, it will show an avatar or your initial of your name. Type in my name quickly. And lastly, you can apply the background blur effect. So once you have finished setting up your preview video, click join to enter the room. In the meeting room, you'll see the room name in the bottom left and the toolbar at the center. At the bottom right, you'll find the participant list drawer, which shows all the participants in the room, and the meeting URL. You can copy the link and share it with anyone who wants to join. We also have a chat window. Yeah. So on the toolbar, you'll find all the meeting controls. First, the audio. If you are muted, you'll see this microphone off symbol in the top right corner of your video tile. When you are speaking, you'll see this nice audio level indicator. We also offer the noise suppression in the audio control menu. Then we have video controls, screen sharing, the layout choices, either grid or active speakers, emojis, archiving, and lastly, the leave room button. So that is the main meeting layout. Before we leave the room to show you the goodbye page, let's stop the archiving first. You'll get a message that the recording will be available on the goodbye page. Click stop recording, and then I'm going to leave the room. And on the goodbye page, you'll see the recording and a loading button. The loading button will change to a download button when the archive is ready for download. Yep. Oops. I should turn this off. And also we have two buttons. The first is re-enter to the previous meeting room and return to the landing page and start everything over again. So there is a quick demo of the reference app. Next, let's make some changes and redeploy the app so you can know on how the flow works. So let me go back to the Code Hub project. So let's walk through a few quick changes. First, imagine we want to update the landing page title for the Knowledge Quest event. To do this, navigate to landing page welcome component. It will be located in the source component, landing page welcome. If you see the warning there, you can just have a quick fix by hovering that and install the React add. That sometimes that happens. Okay. So in this component, we'll change the title from welcome to Vonage video React add to maybe welcome to the Knowledge Quest. And that's all it takes. Next, let's remove the archive button to prevent users from archiving meeting content. We'll find this in the toolbar component. A quick way to access it is through the Go menu. Select the Go to File in the Go menu and type in toolbar. You'll find it in the Components Meeting Room toolbar folder. So you can simply comment out the archive toggle button, or you can just remove it, whatever you like. For me, I just like to comment it out. And that's good. And finally, let's add a emoji. Again, use the Go menu, go to File. This time searching for emoji. You're located in Utils emoji folders. We'll add a new emoji here, a cat emoji maybe. Then I'll copy it from getemoji.com. So you can get the emoji from getemoji.com like I did, or any other website that serves the same purpose. To see these changes, we need to rebuild the app. So open a new terminal by clicking a little plus button here. So we open a new terminal because we don't want to interrupt our current debug instance, right? And here, all I need to do is running the yarn build again to rebuild the app. And that's it. So is everyone still on track so far with all the changes did?
Anybody have any questions about anything so far?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, let me go back to my. So it typically takes around 40 seconds, 30 to 40 seconds to finish a build. Yeah. And anyway, if you wish to run the front end and back end on different servers, perhaps for the faster debugging, you can create two workspaces, one for the front end and the other for the backend server, or you can run them locally. The steps for running the application locally are documented in the README file.
Now, Shubham has a question. Can you please repeat how you did your deploy the changes?
Oh, so we have already deployed using the VCL debug, right? And we don't terminate that. All I did was open a new terminal by clicking the plus button here, or you can just open a new terminal, depends on you, and running a yum build command to refresh the build folder.
And Jaya Prasad gave thumbs up, so.
Oh, cool.
And Shubham says thanks.
Great. Okay, what I just said. Oh, to run in your local machine, you can find it here. In the README, there is a portion running locally, and you can just follow this step to run the project on your local machine. Okay, my build looks like it's done. Now, let's refresh the app to see the effect. And this is my app. Going to refresh it. Now you can see the changes. The title changed to Welcome to the Knowledge Quest. Now join the room. And you can see that the archive button is gone, and we have a new cat emojis here. Cool. So those are steps for making changes and redeploy the app to the debug instance. And I think it's worth to mention this. We have been using the VCR debug command. Let me show you back the code hub. So we are using the VCR debug command to deploy to a debug instance, right? Which the URL provided here won't be accessible after you close the project or terminate the instance. So let me terminate my debug instance now by pressing the Ctrl C. And I refresh the app. And now you'll see the app is not available anymore because the instance has been terminated. So to deploy to a production environment and make the changes permanent, we'll need to use VCR deploy instead. And this process takes around 6 minutes for all the tests and deployment to complete. But just a reminder about the production deployments, it's crucial to make sure your app is secure before you deploy. And this will help prevent anyone misuse of your app and APIs. So for example, you can implement the authentication for the APIs and for the conference room creation, maybe. Yeah, I think that's the point I need to bring out. All right, I believe that wraps up the demo. If no one has any question, I'll move back to the slides. Dwane, could you share your slide?
Well, go ahead and stop. All right, cool. There we go. All right, so now that we've seen, things in action and we have it deployed, let's take a look at some of the features. All righty. Okay. Was that too quick? Did it show? Okay, yes. Kind of like the screen. The colors are awesome. Let's look at some features.
Okay, so apparently there are a couple more cool features I wanted to show you, which are best demonstrated with multiple participants. First, we have the active speaker detection. We use the audio level property from the audio level updated event, and we have an active speaker tracker class to determine who is speaking. The active speaker's video tile will have a blue border as shown on the second video tile in the GIF. Okay, cool. Next slide. If you are in active speaker mode, the active speaker will display prominently on the screen. So as you can see in the GIF, whoever is speaking is shown larger. And let me show you the code. I'll share my code hub. Okay, cool. So in the session context, line 307. So in the session provider, the audio level updated event is dispatched periodically by the subscriber object. The subscriber is what shows you the video and sound from someone else. We listen for this event and pass the audio level to the active speaker tracker class, which is located in utils active speaker tracker. So this class, the active speaker tracker class determines if the subscriber is an active speaker, and if the active speaker has changed, it emits a active speaker change event. Then go back to the session provider. Here we listen to the active speaker change event from the active speaker tracker class, and we reorganize it to move the active speaker to the top of the order. And we also set the speaker ID, which is for the prominent display later. So far, so good. Can we go back to the slide again?
Here we go. All right, so next cool feature.
Yeah. So we've just covered the active speaker detection, and now I'd like to introduce participant hiding. As you can see in the GIF, if there are more participants than can be displayed, the extra participants are grouped and hidden. When someone leaves, he frees up a spot for another participant to be displayed. And since we moved the active speaker to the top of the participant order, as I showed you earlier, the active speaker is always shown and appear at the top of the video groups, right after the publisher. Next slide, please. And we also have a participant list drawer, and the list is displayed in alphabetical order. A microphone indicator next to the participant's name shows their mute status. I'll quickly move back to my code. Okay, so under utils, helper. So for the participant hiding, the number of videos to be displayed is set in get subscriber to display module. The get max subscriber on screen count is where you can set how many videos you want to show on the screen. For desktop, we set the number of subscribers on the screen to 5 in active speaker mode and 9 in the grid mode. Besides, in the subscriber components, under components, subscriber. So here we unsubscribe the video of hidden participants and only subscribe to the participants that are not in the hidden list. This is to save the bandwidth and the CPU. And lastly, in the participant list component, which is located in the meeting room, participant list. So this is where the participant list in the drawer shows all participants. We basically get all the subscribers from the session context and sort them alphabetically before we display it. Yeah, okay. I think that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Vonage Video API Reference app. Back to you, Dwane.
All right, so now you may be asking yourself, how much does all this awesomeness cost, right? And so let me share my screen. Now the actual, like we mentioned before, the Vonage Video reference application is actually open source and free. So you can go ahead and play around with that. If you have any issues, feel free to make an issue, to file an issue in the GitHub repo. But as far as the actual video call costs, right? You can try it for free. We actually have a coupon code. You get 1,200 minutes to start off with, if I remember correctly, to kind of be able to try it out. And then you pay as you go from there on. So we charge per participant per minute. So for every person, for however long they are in the video session, is 0.0041 cents. And for my people across the pond, it's 0.00381. I'm assuming that's like a euro or something. It's a C with 2 lines. That's how it is to Americans. I don't know. All right, now, like I mentioned, it's a usage-based pricing. Also, is dynamically calculated for every minute. So it's like by the minute. And there's no bandwidth limitations. And some of the core features, there are screen sharing, like we mentioned, signaling and chat, turn relay. So if you're behind like a firewall, we'll try and do a turn relay to be able to connect folks. And there's AI media processor. So if you want to be able to add like a chat bot or get transcriptions or all the live captions, we can do all that for you. And like I mentioned, so the usage-based pricing for the additional features, the archiving, again, the recording. So you can record each participant individually. And then at the end, you'll get like a zip file of all the different videos that you can then put into your own video editor and be able to do things that you want. So that is 0.013 cents per minute. Then we also have different like quality that you can download. So we have the standard quality SD, which I think is like 480. That's 0.026 cents per minute of that recording. Now HD, which I think is like 780, probably. Again, we have a link to everything you can check out, but that's 0.036 cents per minute. And then we have full HD, which is 1080, and that is 0.047 cents per recorded minute. And then we also, I can mention the AI connectors. So we have the live captions, and that's 0.026 cents per minute per participant. And then audio connector, again, if you want to send it off to like a chat bot or get transcriptions generated, 0.005 cents per connected participant per minute. All right. Cool. I think that's it. So if anybody has any other questions, please let us know. John Kim asks, I followed up VCR deploy, done. Nice. Oh, of course, you want to know where the emoji is. So would you want to tell them, Yuji?
Yeah, I just shared the link in the chat window.
How about for the people maybe watching later on? Where did you get that? The recording. Where did you get? What website? Did you just freeze for me or? Hello?
Sorry, I missed your question.
Oh, yes. What's the website actually for? Because people will be watching this later. We're recording this. So for the people watching later, what's the website that you got the emoji from?
Oh, I just shared the website for the getemoji.com in the chat window. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the chat won't be available later when people watch the video. So getemoji.com.
Yeah, getemoji.com. Right.
Alrighty. Any other questions? Well, if you don't have any questions, there's a link below this video to where you can share your feedback and enter to win a Lego giveaway. It's a really cool set. So you can go ahead and check that out there. But if you go ahead and deploy this and work on it yourself and you run into any issues, you can always join our community Slack. And you just go to vonage.dev/Slack. And then you can introduce yourself in the hello-world channel. And then any questions that you may have with the Vonage Video React Reference app, you can go to the video-API channel. All righty. Oh, okay. Jay Prasad said deployment complete. Great session. Thanks. Well, thank you for coding along with us. We appreciate that. I'm glad it worked out. Very nice. And again, hey, if you get it deployed, I don't know how you do this, but if you take a screenshot of you, like with a thumbs up, and post in the Hello World or the Video API, we'll give you a bunch of claps and applause and emojis and things. So, all right. So as promised, we were able to get a fully functional multi-participant React application video conferencing app up and running and under an hour. And yeah, so again, thanks everybody. Unless you have any questions, anybody got any questions? Anything? Anybody? Final call? Because I'll give you like 10 minutes back of your day. Because again, we did say it was under 60 minutes. So if you want to like finish your lunch or something, or dinner, or Eugene can go to sleep earlier. Because again, thank you, Eugene, for coming out. And thanks, Vonage developer, for hanging out. Thanks, everybody. And yeah. So we're going to be out of here. Again, thanks, everyone. Join the community Slack and leave your feedback to enter a Lego giveaway.